It's Wednesday, September 25. In the headlines in local news, government working to expand the JUTC fleet and enhance efficiency, and Prime Minister Andrew Holness speaks out against attacks on the nation's children. In business news, Senator Grant discusses MSME plans and future as Small Business Association of Jamaica marks 50 years. Regionally, dengue fever outbreak declared in St. Lucia. And in sports, Ian Forbes appointed chairman of New in Sports Board. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Brittany Clark. The Andrew Holness administration has pumped billions into reviving the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC. Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport, Darrell Vaz, revealed the details in Parliament on Tuesday, highlighting the government's ongoing efforts to improve public transportation. More details in this report.
Speaking in the House of Representatives, Minister Darrell Vaz announced that since 2023, the government has invested $5 billion in purchasing 170 new buses to bolster the JUTC fleet. This, he said, is part of a broader plan to enhance service delivery for commuters.
I stand here proud and confident that since 2023, 170 new buses have been purchased by the government of Jamaica at a cost of $5 billion Jamaican dollars. Mr. Speaker, no loans, no borrowing, no begging, solely from the funds of the Jamaican coffers, the consolidated fund.
Minister Vaz also noted that commuter satisfaction, often referred to as the misery index, is improving, with passenger numbers on the rise.
From 2014 to 2020, JUTC saw a concerning decline in the average daily buses available, which directly affected our capacity to transport commuters efficiently. The pandemic further caused this situation, resulting in a drastic reduction in both the number of buses and passenger lift, dropping to an alarming low in 2021. However, Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to report that we're on the path to recovery. Under this government, in 2024, we have increased our daily bus availability to 260, and the passenger lift has surged to over 2.4 million passengers.
He further emphasized the government's commitment to expanding bus routes, citing ongoing infrastructure developments across the island.
Madam Speaker, we are now in the month of September, and I say to all Jamaica commuters, more is in store. The government is not only committing to the purchase of another 100 new buses, but it's also looking to expand routes based on improvement of infrastructure that has been happening in terms of the South Coast Highway Improvement Project and, of course, the expansion of the East-West Highway all the way to Williamsfield.
Minister Vaz said the enhancement reflects the government's commitment to providing reliable, safe and environmentally friendly public transportation options for all Jamaicans.
Madam Speaker, these enhancements reflect this government's commitment to providing reliable, safe and environmentally friendly public transportation options for all Jamaica. By addressing service gaps and modernizing our fleet, we are setting the stage for a more efficient transit system that benefits both our citizens and the economy.
Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I am Danita Rodney.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says Jamaicans should stand against attacks on the nation's children. His comments followed Tuesday's guilty plea by the woman charged for the stabbing death of 8-year-old schoolgirl Danielle Rowe. Coyote Satchel pleaded guilty to murder and child stealing. Reports of Danielle Rowe's killing in June last year had sparked national outrage. The grade 2 student was abducted on June 8 last year from Brayton Primary and Infant School in Portmore, St. Catherine. She was seen later that day with her throat slashed on Roosevelt Avenue in St. Andrew. The estates of individuals who die without a will, once there are no minor beneficiaries, and the estate is valued at under $1.5 million, can now be processed by the Administrator General's Department, AGD, without requiring a formal grant of administration. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck made the announcement while addressing the lower house of Parliament on Tuesday. This change aims to simplify the process of estate management for families.
All estates for persons who died without leaving a will and without minor beneficiaries, but containing personality valued less than $1.5 million, can now be referred to the Administrator General's Department for collection and distribution without the need for a grant of administration. The Administrator General's Department requirements in order to administer these estates are: 1. Completed form of particulars; 2. Proof of debt; 3. Proof of asset, that is personality only, valuing less than $1.5 million; and 4. Proof of beneficiary's relationship to the deceased.
According to the Justice Minister, before the amendment, many beneficiaries faced difficulties accessing assets, often resulting in high legal fees.
This at times, Mr. Speaker, resulted in a lengthy process to obtain grant of administration, a lengthy process to collect the assets and complete estate administration, significant costs to obtain the grant of administration. And so, Mr. Speaker, the previous estates did not adequately meet the needs of the populace, particularly where monies above $100,000 were being held in the bank or with the National Housing Trust, but could not be accessed by the beneficiaries of deceased persons as they were unable to afford the legal fees to obtain the grant of administration. In some instances, the legal fees exceeded the value of the monies held or the value of the asset falling to the estate.
The minister explained that raising the threshold will ensure beneficiaries receive their inheritance more quickly and will also reduce the burden on the courts.
Mr. Speaker, this decision to increase the limit for small estates to $1.5 million is a significant step that will allow beneficiaries to receive their entitlements in a timely manner. This change will not only facilitate better access to inherited assets for beneficiaries, but also streamline the administration process and reduce the burden on the courts. So, Mr. Speaker, this is really for the vast majority of families across Jamaica to be able to access personality.
Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Floyd Green, spoke to the media earlier today during the post-cabinet press briefing. Here's what he had to say.
In the weeks following Hurricane Beryl, one of the things that we did was to visit a number of the areas that were hardest hit, just to see firsthand the experience of our farmers. Clearly, my own constituency, I visited multiple communities. A number of the farmers were completely devastated. I journeyed to Bog Hole over in northern Clarendon, where they didn't have challenges with the rain, with the wind, but unfortunately, the rain and the flooding wiped out the vegetable lines. Bog Hole, if you don't know, is a big lettuce growing area, cabbage growing area in northern Clarendon. And we went all over. We went to southern Trelawney, we went to St. Mary, just to speak with the farmers, to encourage the farmers, and to say to them that we will respond, and we will respond quickly. We understood that the only way to rebuild our agricultural sector is to be proactive in our response mechanism and to get to as many farmers as possible. And that is why 2 weeks after Hurricane Beryl, we started our first distribution of inputs. This is the quickest any government has responded to any natural disaster. We started in South St. Elizabeth, giving large farmers vegetable seeds so that they could start again. Our mission has been clear. It's to restore agricultural production, rehabilitate essential infrastructure, and to provide robust support to our farmers and fishers to ensure that they can reclaim their livelihoods and emerge stronger than before. As such, we have been working with our teams on the ground, rather the Rural Agricultural Development Authority and the National Fisheries Authority, who have led this recovery effort.
We end the local news segment with a brief weather report. A flash flood watch remains in effect for low-lying and flood-prone areas of St. Thomas, Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover and St. James. According to the Meteorological Service of Jamaica, the flash flood watch remains in effect until 5 p.m. Wednesday. Recently formed Tropical Storm Helene is now moving west-northwestward towards the Gulf of Mexico, and its outer bands are expected to continue to produce unstable weather across Jamaica today. Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happenings in the world of business. A partnership with the National Identification System, NIDS, will allow the 353-year-old post office system on the island to function as logistics and service centers. Lincoln Allen, Postmaster General and CEO for the Post and Telecommunications Department, says the recently reopened Ligonier Post Office was the first of 23 to be refurbished. Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon, Minister with responsibility for digital transformation, says each of the remaining 22 post offices being refurbished will cost up to $60 million. Mona Post Office is next on the list. She said the network of 238 post offices will also be used to expand government services. The Small Business Association of Jamaica is celebrating its 50th anniversary, and First Vice President Senator Norman Grant shared the plans in place and the outlook for the MSME sector.
The small business, I believe, is the engine of growth for the Jamaican economy. I don't think enough has been done to support small businesses. And that is one of the things that we are going to focus on in engaging the government, in lobbying, that's one, to bring about critical services and support to get the small businesses up. We're talking about, businesses with 1, 2, or 3 individuals. They're very informal, but I think if we can provide some structured support for these businesses, they can move the economy forward. There is a big focus on large business, and we do support that. But we need to find a way to move the small businesses into medium and larger size business. We're talking about, for example, loans. We need to find a way to provide our small businesses with affordable loans. And I'm not talking about 12, 13, and 14%. I'm talking about between 3 to 6%, because they can use those loan funding to create other opportunities for the economy. You're talking agriculture. That's a business. But all our farmers, our 250,000 farmers, sometimes they're very informal. And if we have them structured into small business, which is one of the focus of the new executive of the SBAJ, we want to bring our farmers to the center of the economic activities where they can get incentive from government. We're talking about duty concessions. We're talking about putting them in a way where, for an extended period of time, for example, the egg farmers have been calling for the removal of GCT from table eggs. Some of those critical things that will give them cash flow to grow their business and create jobs. Look at retailing. It's a major trading activities that we have not given sufficient thought and support. And if we structure those small businesses, or igglers or retailers, you could bring them in the mainstream where they could certainly be a part of the formal economy and really had their significant value to the general economic development of Jamaica. So we are saying small business is the way to go.
Yes.
It's critical to economic development, and the Small Business Association, as we celebrate our 50th anniversary this year, we are going to be expanding our reach across Jamaica.
Yes.
Of course, we are centered into Kingston now at Trafalgar Road, but we are going to be looking to establish a number of our activities across Jamaica and really get persons, really get small business operators to become a formal member of the Small Business Association as we celebrate our 50th anniversary.
During trading for the period of September 24, 2024, the following companies represent the top 3 most active stocks that investors bought and sold on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. The financial conglomerate NCB Financial Group Limited, with 6,393,236 units, represented 32.93% of the total market volume in terms of sales. Alternative energy provider Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with 1,872,608 units represented 9.65% of the total market volume in terms of sales. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with 1,261,249 units represented 6.50% of the total market volume in terms of sales. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies on the stock market, we turn to the Forex market. On September 24, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $52.42 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $50.47 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $158.55 and bought the US dollar for $156.88. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.67, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $3.22 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $117.85 and bought for $114.63. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $3.66, selling it for $210.59 and buying it for $206.93. For our credit report tip of the day, there are many elements that go into your credit score. Paying your bills on time accounts for only 35% of your credit score. But it's not the only way to strengthen your financial standing. Here are 2 additional ways to boost your credit score and open the door to better financial opportunities. Number 1, pay more than the minimum. Paying off more than the minimum that you owe each month lowers your overall debt faster and improves your credit worthiness. Another option is to dispute errors on your credit report. Regularly review your credit report for errors or discrepancies and dispute any mistakes you find to prevent unnecessary dips in your credit score. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. I appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, St. Lucia's Ministry of Health has declared a dengue fever outbreak, urging residents to take immediate action to control the mosquito population by eliminating breeding sites and preventing further spread of the virus. More in this HTS News Force report.
An outbreak of dengue fever has been declared in St. Lucia.
These increasing trends now constitute an outbreak. This means that the numbers currently being reported exceed the numbers expected, and as such, warrant an immediate and targeted response.
National epidemiologist Michelle Fassois reports that St. Lucia experienced a 174% increase in dengue fever cases from July. September has already seen 2/3 of August's cases, prompting health officials to declare an outbreak.
Prevention and control, therefore, involves the elimination of the Aedes aegypti mosquito. Because the vector requires water to breed, the public is asked to assist in the control of dengue by eliminating breeding sites in and around the homes. The vector is capable of breeding in the smallest of receptacles, so frequent checks around the home is essential to combat the spread of dengue. Persons are also advised to avoid the indiscriminate dumping of garbage, which also serves as a breeding ground for the mosquito. Please adhere to the scheduled garbage collection days and times. If you have been diagnosed with dengue, please sleep under a mosquito net to avoid being bitten by the mosquito. The use of insect repellent is also recommended to control the spread of dengue virus. Repellent may be applied directly to the skin, clothing, or mosquito nets. Together, we can break the transmission cycle.
As of January 1st, St. Lucia recorded 205 dengue cases. 53% of cases were among females aged 15 to 49, while 64% occurred in the northern part of the island. Castries and Grosley accounted for 29% of cases each, with Babono at 11%. Fassois said cases have also been reported in the southern sectors, but to a lesser extent. The female Aedes aegypti mosquito is the culprit behind the disease's spread.
Deaf professionals and civil society leaders across Central and South America and the Caribbean are in Belize for the first Inter-American Sign Language Linguistics Conference. The 4-day event, organized by the Inter-American Confederation for Deaf Professionals, focuses on improving accessibility for the deaf community. It coincides with the International Day of Sign Languages and World Deaf Day. News 5's Paul Lopez reports.
The exact figures are not known, but a study in 2013 indicated that the deaf population in Belize stood at roughly 13 to 15,000. These are people who struggle to communicate on a daily basis, many times even at home. As a result, they often miss out on education and employment opportunities, as well as basic social interactions.
Well, I grew up in deaf communities. It's a very common thing where you'll grow up and everybody around me signs. So, of course, I grew up learning how to sign. It was just as easy for me as signing English, sometimes even better than speaking English.
Selah Davis grew up with a father who pastors a church for the deaf. She is now studying to become an international sign language interpreter. Today, Selah and her father were our interpreters at the first Congress for Inter-American Sign Language Linguistics Conference in Belize.
I came here to Belize from Venezuela to facilitate communication and relationship with the Belizeans. I work in the law and the government for the deaf in Venezuela. I teach a lot of the kids, and then so that when they grow up, that they will be able to be functioning parts of society, to create relationships between them and other people, and that throughout time that they'll be able to work throughout all of the Americas, and that we'll be able to all come together and work, especially in the media.
That's Annabelle Rene, the only deaf parliamentarian in Venezuela who also heads a foundation for persons living with disabilities. Rene advocates for policies that enrich the lives of individuals living with various disabilities. He is one of the main speakers at the conference. For Selah, translating Rene's interview was not simple because sign languages change in different parts of the world.
Yeah, that's a hard thing. Most people don't know. They think that sign language is just all the same across all countries, and that makes sense. Maybe you would think that. But in reality, every single country, most of them have their own different language. Here in Belize, we use a form of ASL, so it's very common. Same with United States. But even in different Spanish-speaking countries, Mexico has a different one, Venezuela has a different one, Guatemala. So it's important to be able to facilitate communication between those languages just as much.
In sports, we begin with schoolboy football. The football players of Dintil who were involved in an incident at Saturday's Zone J Issa Da Costa Cup match at McGrath High have been subject to disciplinary action by the school. According to a letter sent out by the school's administrators, the main aggressor has been banned from participating in extracurricular activities for the rest of the year. On Saturday, a referee was allegedly assaulted following the 1-1 draw between Dintil Technical and McGrath High. Video footage surfaced showing the referee and his assistants being barricaded in a classroom for nearly an hour after the altercation. Local police were called to the scene and eventually escorted the referees off the school premises. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, has announced the appointment of Ian Forbes as the new chairman of the Institute of Sports in Sports. Reports are that Forbes will lead a newly constituted board of directors comprised of individuals with a diverse range of expertise, tasked with guiding the development and expansion of sports in Jamaica over the next 2 years. Meanwhile, Minister Grange also announced the new additions to the Sports Development Foundation, SDF, which plays a crucial role in funding national sports and developing infrastructure across the island. It is the hope that with Forbes at the helm of InSports and new members adding their strengths to the SDF, Jamaica's sports sector is poised for continued growth. Olympic heroine Julian Alfred made a triumphant return to St. Lucia on Tuesday, igniting a wave of national pride and admiration at a special welcome reception and motorcade. Tuesday's event is just the first of a host of activities to commemorate the historic feats of arguably the island's greatest contemporary athlete.
She's wearing both of the medals.
St. Lucia's superstar sprinter Julian Alfred jetted back to St. Lucia on the afternoon of Tuesday, September 2024, to a warm welcome from residents. As she stepped off the plane, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre was the first to greet her, presenting Alfred with a special pin in honor of her remarkable achievements. Flanked by dignitaries as she strode across the tarmac, Julian Alfred's gold and silver Olympic medals gleamed around her neck. Members of her former track and field club, the Survivors, were there to greet her with warm embraces, celebrating the homecoming of their star athlete.
Members of her former club, the Survivors.
The sprint star also stopped to sign autographs for her fans eager to catch a glimpse of her.
Folks coming in to celebrate with Julian Alfred.
And was even brought to tears by the overwhelming response and show of love from well-wishers and supporters.
It really takes a village to get to this point. I want to thank my family, my mom, the government of St. Lucia for supporting me, especially with my transition into the professional career. I want to thank UT, Coach Edric Floriel, who couldn't make it here today, Coach Twatine, who took me at a very tender age, and even when I gave up, he came back for me, and sister. So many people have guided me along the way and helped me to get to this point, and I really just want to say thank you to all of you, even those I haven't mentioned. I just want to say thank you. I've been there for such a long time, just being an inspiration to the youth of St. Lucia, wanting to give back and just wanting to, inspire them so we can have many more Leuven Spencers and many more Darren Sammys and many more like myself. It didn't come easy. It was truly a rocky road. Many days I wanted to just give up, throw in the towel and just say I'm done. But my village, those persons who are around me, I just want to say thank you for just everything that you have done for me.
That's the news on PBC Jamaica. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBC Jamaica. Thanks for watching.